For the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and get started. Everyone can still go through line as needed. I would like to welcome everyone here. Thank you for joining us. At this time, I would like to call 2023-2024 Downtown Statesville Development Corporation annual meeting to order. At this time, I would like to take a moment to introduce some of our special guests. If you're standing in line, you can wave. You can stand up if you'd like. Mayor Costa-Coute. City Councilman Joe Hudson.
Wes and David Jones.
And David Jones. Our city manager, Ron Smith. Chief John Iverson with the Statesville Police Department. Vieira is the president of the Greater Statesville Chamber of Commerce. Cindy Sutton, executive director of Statesville Convention and Visitors Bureau. Aaron Balser, president and CEO of Iredell Economic Development. Tim Nicholson, general manager, ABC Commission. Dr. Tim Brewer, president of Mitchell Community College. Scott Harrell, assistant city manager. Assistant to the city manager. Chad Thomas, vice president of economic development, Iredell Economic Development. Sherry Ashton, planning director of Statesville Planning and Zoning. Richard Briggs, director of Recreation and Parks Department. At this time, I would also like to recognize our current board of directors. They all volunteer their time and energy for greater good of our community. Alex Prinster, AC Vintage Motors. Amanda McClellan, The Rock Fitness. Billy Blevins, WAME Radio. CJ Sutton, Serve Speedy Print, Signs and Marketing. Dean Wooten, Wooten Insurance. Donald Hicks Jr., Statesville Housing Authority. Doug Hendricks, who is our incoming chair of Blue Harbor Bank. Edward Lorena of Edwin's Hair Studio. Jason Cole, Twisted Oak American Bar and Grill. Jennifer Grant, our incoming secretary of Standard Consultants. Jim Duffy of American Renaissance School. Joe Bondi of Red Buffalo Brewing Company. John Childress of Banner Drug and Greenbrier Grill. Joshua Spear, a treasurer, Norris, Stewart, and Ralston. Kelly Simcoe Walker, 220 Cafe, who is also the restaurant we're eating from today. So thank you, Kelly and crew. Larry Schaefer of Design Associates. Stamy Holland III of Holland Realty. And Wesley Davidson, our outgoing chairman of First White Bicycles. Oh yeah, thank you. I'd also like to recognize our ex officios. Assistant Chief John Iverson, Scott Harrell, Shannon Vieira, Costa-Coute, Cindy Sutton, who we've all mentioned before, thank you so much, and Todd Black of Iredell County Economic Development Corporation. We do have two board members that are outgoing this year. I would like to thank both of them. Unfortunately, neither one of them were able to attend, but they've both put in a lot of time and effort for DSDC, which is CJ Sutton and Alex Prinster. We will miss them as board members, but they will stay in the community and volunteer very often as Liz sees fit. We have a slate of 3 new board member nominations who have agreed to serve the term of July 1st, 2023 and June 30th through June 30th of 2026 on the Downtown Statesville Development Board of Directors. They are Baron Tomlin of Allen Tate Realtors, Kevin Hollifield of G-Hits Cleaners, and Emilio Lopez of State Farm Insurance. Those three, please rise and stand or wave. We also have 3 returning board member nominations: Billy Buck Blevins, Edwin Moreno, and Stamy Holland. We need a motion and a second to accept these board members as presented. Motion and a second from Donald and Jennifer. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Our officers for the executive board for 2023 and 2024 are incoming chair is Doug Hendricks, secretary Jennifer Grant, and treasurer Joshua Spear. You 3 would rise. We need a motion and a second. Second from Jim Duffy raised his hand before you, John. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. At this time, I will pass the mic over to Doug Hendricks.
And you're done, dear.
Welcome, everybody. This is going to be fun. So today, I would like to introduce Stephen Barker from the Catalyst Group. We're thrilled to have Stephen here with us today. He is the founder of the Catalyst Group and has had a remarkable career in real estate. He's been the recipient of numerous awards and honors over the years. We are thankful to have him here to tell us about his newest project, our Vance Hotel. So, Stephen.
Caught me with a little chicken in my mouth. So. Thank you for inviting me here today. It's certainly a pleasure. I'd like to thank Brittany certainly for inviting me. And Liz for calling me on the phone and asking me if I need anything. So I told her I didn't need much. I said most of the people in this community knows more about the Vance Hotel than I probably do, especially those who are historians, which there are several. A lot of pictures, photos, mementos from the hotel over the years. We've had a very interesting journey with this hotel. I've been involved with it since 2009. I was traveling through town one day and looked over and saw this sign on this building over here. I thought, well, heck, I'll call on that sign and see what gives. And a guy by the name of Tom Wilson owned the building. He was a doctor, specialty doctor, flew out of here to service other hospitals. So Tom was a great guy. We had a great relationship, and unfortunately, he was killed in an airplane accident, and that kind of ended my tenure with the building for a while. Several years later, the city bought the building, and it's had a little bit of a history there, going back and forth with some ideas as to how it could be handled. I have a great relationship with Mayor Kute and Ron Smith, relative to the building in the interim. And so from 2009 to 2023, here I am. A lot of people would probably say you're nuts for kind of hanging in there that long. But when I saw the building, it kind of hit a nerve with me. I'm a small town guy, grew up in Michigan. So I kind of got the feeling of what can happen in a small town, especially if you have an iconic property. And you do have an iconic property. You have a piece of artwork in your downtown. That's that building. And the use of it is and it has and always will be, at least at this particular juncture, a hotel. So going back to the history of the hotel, which again, I apologize to those who know more than I do, but back in 1919, some businessmen got together and said, hey, let's build a hotel. Well, it took them 3 years before they actually finished the hotel. And one of the participants of that was a guy by the name of Louis Asbury, who was an architect. And he was one of the original group members, if you will, to do the hotel. Louis Asbury is one of the finest architects that the area's had for many years. He built many of the buildings in Charlotte, the Charlotte Courthouse, Methodist Church in Charlotte, which is quite large, and the Dunhill Hotel in downtown Charlotte. The Vance Hotel is one of 3 remaining historic hotels in, I don't know how many counties. So you have an antiquity here that really has some value, so to speak, just from the sense of nostalgic or sentimental value, if nothing else. Mr. Asbury was very creative, and working with this group, they created the first elements of the building, which was basically about 2/3 of what you see there today. They came out of the chute in 1922, which was kind of like the roaring 20s. Everything was going pretty hot at that time. And the hotel took off, and they were just loaded. A lot of food and beverage, people staying there. It was the place to go. So they decided to add on to the building. So they added on another annex to the building in the back. So if you look real closely at the brick on the sidewalk, kind of tell the difference between the brick. And so there's actually 2 sections that were built within basically a year of each other. So the building was occupied, ran well for many years. A few bumps along the way. In 1961, the later 50s, basically, started having a little problem. In 1961, it went up for auction. So it was auctioned, some other people bought it and all that. But basically, during the life of the hotel, going up to about 1991, things were kind of bouncing around, different ownerships, that kind of thing. And so it then became vacant for a while. And Tom picked it up in about 2005, opened it for a year, closed it. So when I came on board, it had been closed obviously for quite some time. I think over the 100-year life of the hotel, it's probably been closed about 35 years of that. So it has had a rough experience. So some reasons for that, and it's not all the hotel's situation, nor is it ownership situations that cause the problem. In that era, if anybody has been around for a while, you know that downtowns were old downtowns like Statesville and others at the time were getting pinched by the fact that you see suburban sprawl, you see things going out from the city, you see Walmart show up, you see malls going up. So the downtown kind of was let go as far as retail goes, being the center point of what happens in the community. Through the 50s, almost through the 90s, that was kind of the experience. So great towns like Statesville, Salisbury, other towns like that, were kind of, in a no man's land. I grew up in a town where urban renewal came along in 1960. In the 1970s and early, they tore down about half the town. So more than half. So I have a personal experience of having my hometown bulldozed. That could have happened in Statesville too, and it did happen to many towns. But what happened is the perception of the downtown waned. So, the activity of the hotel in the downtown, everybody thinking that they could still draw back to 1922 when it was really hot and heavy. It just was a circumstance of market. And so fast forward to today. Why do we think this is here today? We specialize in our company of taking on what we call boutique hotels. That's one part of our operation. We do franchise hotels as well. But boutique hotel, we really found a niche in trying to bring these things back to life. This is the first historic one we've done. We actually built them from ground up. And what we do is go into communities that are secondary and tertiary, much like Statesville, and drive into the buildings, the culture and environment and the history of the community. So you've got a storyline already in this Vance Hotel that you could write a novel about. I mean, the ghost stories and the movies and all the things that go go on in that hotel over the years. People drag me off the sidewalk out there and say, I remember when my mother got married over there and I had to graduate, you know, so they go on and on about the Vance. So it has branded itself kind of philosophically into the fabric of this community. So everybody knows the Vance. So with that, we have a storyline that we want to bring to life in the building. So we want to bring that forward, put into that building the form of renovation that we're very proud of. So what that does for you is this. Towns now, like Statesville, are recognizing the value of their downtowns. So it's come full circle. So we're in 1922, 23, 100 years ago, we're right where we started. So you're at the forefront of recreating your downtown. You are in transition, at least from my perspective and looking at other communities we're in. It sometimes happens very subtly, and I tell you what I do. When I first go to a place where we're considering doing one of these, I drive to downtown, and if there's a whole bunch of vacancy, I go, you know, this might not be the right place. But if I drive through a town and I see 80% occupancy in the downtown, some funky stores, some bars and restaurants, yeah, okay, I think we've got a shot here. So that's basically Statesville. What I see for your future in Statesville, and then I'll get into the Vance in particular, but what I see in your community is you're in a transition and you're just in the beginning. The first thing is that Diane and her husband built that, renovated that little building 2 doors down from the Vance. That is absolutely what we're talking about. They came over here from Salisbury and they've done a marvelous job with that building. Every building in your downtown should think about the renovations that they did in their application. And they're doing it economically and they're doing it profitably as well. So my hat's off to them. They did the same thing in Salisbury, by the way. So it shows that entrepreneurial spirit coming into your downtown can make a difference. They have residents getting ready to live in the top side of the building. You need residential property. You need to have residences down here. You need people down here. And so if you have a place for them to live, it creates an elixir. Most of these downtowns are turning into what I call, for lack of a better name, entertainment districts, where it's a nucleus of entertainment, of food and beverage, and stores and shops and other things that create an excitement and an aura about downtown. Statesville has that building. It's already been shown. So Diane certainly has come in with her expertise and her husband's to show you that that can happen. This town is ready to go right now to be renovated and to have some real exciting things happen. You'll be a shining star. You are the bookend from Charlotte to I-40. You are the bookend outside. Just think 15 years ago, you go down 77. Where was the development? I was down there someplace, it was near Charlotte. What's happened in the interim? Everything from Charlotte on up to Trumpet almost now has come this way. Now you're experiencing industrial and other people coming into your community, doing new business, expanding locations, things of that nature. You're a bookend. You're at I-40 and I-77. You go beyond 77, it gets a little bit different. But you're the bookend. That bookend is going to get covered up sooner or later. It's coming. And so your downtown is a key piece of that puzzle. You're going to have other things happen on the expressway. You're going to have other businesses coming. But you're going to have a jewel, and an iconic jewel, and a piece of artwork in your downtown. So when people that come to live here say, this is home, this is my place, and I like that building, that signifies who we are. And with that, that's how the philosophy of what we do comes to pass. We build these things, we renovate these things. When it's done, I turn the keys over to our management company. Mike Riley is here today. He's with our management team from Haycreek Hospitality out of Exeter, New Hampshire. So we brought them all the way down to Statesville to help us out in being able to manage this project. We have people from Atlanta that are doing interior design. We have people from New York who are doing branding vision. We have an architect in Charlotte, Steve Overcash, who I've worked with for 25 years. They've done at least 6 renovation drawings basically of the interior of the hotel. I mean, we've been putting a lot of time in this. So one of the things you do in the development world is you think slow and build fast. So to give you an example, Frank Gehry, who's one of the nation's great architects, he's about 96 years old now. He built the Guggenheim Museum in Spain, and he went to Spain at their invitation of the town. They were a railroad town. They had no tourism. It was kind of an industrial sort of warehousing community, big community. They wanted to bring tourism in, and they said, "Can you bring us something iconic?" And he got with the Guggenheim people, and they said, "Well, we'll just put all of our stuff in the museum there." And so that facility, the Guggenheim Museum, was designed by him and built. And it took him a long time to get the design right, but then they built it in a very short period of time. And it was on budget. In fact, it was under budget. It was $100 million. It was $3 million under budget. And it was before the construction date, the due date, basically. So what it proves to you is that big jobs, little jobs, doesn't make you do your kitchen. You've got to plan well before you execute. So that's what we're doing with the hotel. A lot of people are concerned, why haven't you done this or that? Well, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It's chaos. There's a lot of things moving, a lot of moving parts. The historic aspects that we're trying to obtain are processed and very, very surgical, I might add. So we have for a facility like this, so we're dealing with the State Historical Society and the National Park Service as well. So trying to meet their requirements, the renovation of the building is also a consideration. So the bottom line is think fast, think slow, go fast. So when it happens, it'll go quickly. We'll try to push it along as fast as we can. But give us the opportunity to do the planning right. I think in some cases, projects like this get out of the chute too early, and there's mistakes. So it takes more time, it takes more money, things you don't think about. There's always what we call a black swan in any development deal that happens in any market. Nobody knew that COVID would be a problem. So there's things like that happen. We can't control those things, but there's always things in the woodwork that seem to come out and bother development, things of that nature. My office is downtown Charlotte, or downtown, but it's actually out in Dilworth, about a mile south of the downtown property. I can look out of my office, which is a 100-year-old building on East Boulevard, and I see 3 skyscrapers going up, probably 300,000 feet apiece, along with the other, I don't know, 15 other office buildings that have gone up and the other 25 apartment buildings that have gone up. And each one of them took a long time to plan. So they don't just go up overnight. This one's special because it's a historic renovation and there's certain conditions to bring it back to life. So the bottom line for us is to bring back to you in the city of Statesville and to the people of Statesville, something you can be proud of, something that will define you, something that will be iconic, something that people will have a sense of place about, and something will be very cool. So when I get done with it, basically I hand the keys over to Michael and his team, and I go stay in the parking lot because they got the ball. They're running down the field with it. So I kind of let it go. I'm here to oversee Michael and work with issues and stuff, but at that point, when I turn the keys over to him, it's not his hotel or my hotel, it's your hotel. It's yours. All we did was come in and fix it up for you. They could do something really great for this community. So I won't ever forget the experience that we've had so far. Costi and Ron and I we've talked a lot over the years about the hotel and its significance in the community. So I didn't want to take too much of your time today. There's all kinds of bells and whistles that go along with this process. So if you have some questions, I'd be more than glad to take them from you. So anybody? If there are no questions, I think that's good because I was expecting that. Yes, sir.
You have a ETA and start.
Yeah, everybody asked me that question. Yeah, they asked me that question before I even started. The answer is I don't know. If I gave you a date today, I'd probably be wrong. What happens is, give you a for instance, one of the electrical gear switches that we have for our hotel in the building downtown Boyd Rock right now. You could get that in probably 4, 5, 6 months. When we got ready to order it, it was over a year. So what did that do? Well, okay, you can't open the building unless you have the gear switch. So we had to struggle along and it extended out our time period. So everything, you gotta have a faucet to sink in the rooms. I'll just get down to that little item there. Things take longer. Supply chains are different. So when people ask me, when are you gonna get done? My answer is, I don't know, because I don't know what's gonna hit us. When you're in the development business, you're not really in the development. People ask me, are you a developer? I said, no. So what do you mean? I said, I manage chaos. So that's what we do. We manage all these little intricate things to make them come together. And we're the orchestra leader, bringing all these different disciplines into the party, so to speak. So there are things that are hitch kicks along the way, like switch gears, elevators, other things that are manufactured offsite, or we depend on other vendors to deliver. And sometimes they get crammed up because either the supplier doesn't have the parts or doesn't get this or whatever, the time is up. So to answer your question, it's really hard to answer. We would like to see it up in the next, I'd like to open the door probably, a year and a half at least. So give me some time. I won't, don't write that down any place, but it's not for real, so to speak. So I come back here and it's longer than that, you'll know why. So it's not because we aren't trying to push the thing along. Yeah. Yeah, great. Yeah, good. I'm glad you asked that question. There are about 90 some rooms in the hotel now, and if any of you have been through the hotel, they're all small rooms generally, and they have a little half bath kind of thing. Even the bathtubs, some of them are like this. I mean, they're like foot baths or something. So we had to take those 90 rooms and convert them into about 64 rooms. So we did what I call Americanize them. Today people like a fairly good sized room, nice bath, that type of thing. So what you'll find is a really nice upgraded experience in the room. In the storage situation, you can't fool with hallways. You have to leave the walls in the hallway exactly the same way they are, and you have to also leave all the doors. Well, we don't need 94 doors, so what happens to the 30 some that we don't need? Well, we leave them in the hallway, but we put drywall behind them because there's going to be a room. So you're going to have some fake doors in the beds. That's going to be pretty interesting. So we tell you to go to room 304. You may not have a room, blank door. So, but that's part of the historical context. The rooms are what I call mid-high end. This is not going to be. I don't believe in delivering a product that is something that's special, and so you're going to have a really nice room in this hotel. People are going to come around from other parts of the region and hopefully other parts of the state, maybe other states, just to see, hopefully when we get finished, just to see the Vance Hotel. So on the first floor, you've got kind of a strange situation because when they built the second part of the hotel, it's up about 3 or 4 feet higher than the floor of the first part of the hotel. So you've got these steps to walk up. So trying to manage how you get down and up, if you will, to the rooms is very difficult. We have 2 new elevators going. So those will be kind of in that hallway that comes from the back there. The entrance will still be from the back. It's kind of hard to do it from the front because of the car situation. So we'll bring it around the back. So your entry lodge-wise will be where, and so you'll continue to use that as the access. So 2 new elevators. And interestingly, our architect designed 1 elevator so that it comes down to that first level in the front. So it can come all the way down to there for ADA compliance and delivery of food to the other rooms. So 1 elevator will stop here at 1 level, and the other elevator will stop here. So it's kind of like a yin and yang. So there's lots of different nuances that go on in the hotel as far as the architecture. The main lobby is really I call it the hook. Country and Western stars always make these songs, always has a hook in it at some place, something you remember. Well, the hook in the hotel is the floor in the lobby. You can pull up the carpeting in that lobby. There's a ceramic tile there that is a mosaic that is to die for. I mean, it is really cool. And they covered it up with carpeting. I don't know why they did that, but strange things happened back in the sixties and whatever. So something that is historically, as relevant as that, we're gonna put back in shape. So there's some damage to part of it, you gotta get the glue off of it, there's some work that has to be done. But that floor is gonna be pretty spectacular. That's what we call the hook. So when you walk in that front door, you're, oh, this is really cool. So then where the bar is now, those of you who visited the bar, we're converting that to a bar and restaurant basically. We're using the back where there was a restaurant for somewhat of small meetings, that kind of thing. So we don't need a big facility because we have a convention center here. So a group like this would meet over here as opposed to over there. We just don't have the room. So we can handle a small venue, a certain amount of people, but big events would be handled here certainly. And we'll be a proponent of that. We'll be selling the convention center as well as selling the hotel. So there's a symbiotic relationship too. Actually, this is, if you took the hotel and put it right next to this building, you have a hotel and convention center. You just have to have a street in between them. So we're filling the obligation that you have where people go 2 or 3 miles outside of town to get a room for a convention here. Now they can just walk across the street. The bars, we've been working a lot on the bar and the restaurant. Great looking facilities. We also have a guy that's a jewel. He's from Shelby. He has a company that works with hotels a great deal. He's worked with us a lot. He is an artistic craftsman when it comes to building things for a hotel. Building things like a bar. You don't think about that. Or building the tables in the bar. Or building the furniture in the room. This guy does it all. And what happens is he adapts to whatever that hotel is. So you got a 1922 classic Bible hotel. So if you go back and start looking at pictures of furniture and hotels at that time, you start picking up what it should be. So we're trying to recapture that as best we can and bring it back into the hotel. So when the contractor gets done with his work, he comes in and finishes the place off. And that's what really comes to. As far as the rooms go, the first floor goes, we don't have to do too much. We got some demolitions, things of that nature to take care of. Second through the 5th floor, there's your work. Second through the 5th floor needs to be kind of gutted and reconstituted into the 64 rooms. So that's where the major work is. You need new plumbing, electrical, all the other stuff. It's all old. You got wires going everywhere. I mean, it's the best. If anybody has been in the basement, I went in the basement a dozen times. It kept getting lost. I mean, they got so many rooms down there. I couldn't know. Does this room go to no, that one? So it took me a while before I figured out all the different rooms in the basement. And we've got some plans in the basement that I think will inure the benefits community as well. So everybody asked me about, I've answered the questions a little bit. There's also a pool underneath the parking deck. Well, it's kind of a yin and a yang. The pool was actually built in the 60s, I believe, and the owner at that time thought it would be a good idea to build a pool for the local community, and he built this gorgeous pool, and nobody used it, so it was kind of like, oh well, so it was just left. So it's still there. If I took you all over there to show it, you go, oh my goodness. And so we toyed with the idea, well, we have to take it out because we're going to build a new parking deck there. And then we got to the conclusion, well, what if we just left it there? Can't we leave it there? So we're kind of like 1 foot on the boat, 1 foot on the dock right now, whether we can or can't. A lot of it comes down to structural with the parking deck. So we're debating that. If I can keep it, it'll be a lot of fun to keep it. So we can redial that out too. So the other thing is we have what we call the hotel has to breathe. And this takes part of your downtown into consideration. People come to a convention here, they'll stay for a couple of days maybe, they'll stay over there with us. But in the second day, after they've had, breakfast or dinner or lunch or whatever over here, or cafe money or whatever, they'll look up and down the street and say, what else is here? So they'll go spend money. They'll go to your shops, they'll go to your other places around, and they'll spend money. What happens to the hotel is an economic driver for the downtown. People come here, they're looking for a nice place, good place, have a lot of fun at the hotel, they attend the convention, but you go to any convention town with a hotel, people want to get out of there and go along the streets and see what's happening. That's why you need to have a big shot in the arm when you're downtown. You really have to go aggressively at it. What Diane and her husband did was they made that upstairs lofts. Just when you drive down the streets, just look at how many buildings have an upstairs where there isn't anything. You have a whole city about 30 feet above each building that should be renovated into residential. It's cheap to do, rent expensive. I mean, it's not inexpensive, but it's relative to the construction of building something new. It's inexpensive, and so you can have rates that are comparable to your market, and you can just make them marvelous places out of them. So to combine your residential component with the advent of redoing your downtown, that's an easy combination. So those owners that have those buildings, even if you practically gave the space above away, this is a few dollars for rent or something, and have somebody renovate it, somebody live there. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. So when they go to the hotel over here, I can't just sell a hotel for 5 days for somebody. I can only sell it for about 2 days. I mean, they may stay there, but they'll want to do something else. So I gotta be able to, Michael's gonna have to figure out, well, you go to this event, or you go see that, or have you see this, or how about the shop downtown? Have you been to Cafe 220 next door? They have a great menu over there. So we need at least 3 more restaurants downtown. We need, you know, you've got a couple of breweries and stuff like that. We need to elevate. We need to step up and try to make things come up to where you think they should be. You know, this is going to be a cool town. I can tell you right now. I've seen it. We're building a hotel, as I mentioned, in Blowing Rock right now. It's about 500 open. And what's happening in Blowing Rock is there's a transition there that nobody saw coming. I mean, it's coming fast. Prices have just skyrocketed. I mean, just skyrocketed. And as a consequence, our hotel has taken this sort of upper echelon, you know, mid-high end attack on the market. It's just changed everything. Even the downtown retail is now getting pressed, where it was perhaps before just, you know, singular shops, that kind of thing. It won't be long before you'll see Talbot's down there, and you'll see some of these other higher end retailers coming there. Why? Because there's people there with money to buy things, to drive that economy. So Blowing Rock is kind of in the midst of this transaction right now. Trying to find a piece of real estate, buy and build anything in Blowing Rock is really expensive. But if you can find the land, you have that attribute, you have that sort of juice here. And I see it, and I've seen it in other cities. Some I don't see it, but this one has. You go to Hendersonville, you get the same feeling. We have a hotel, we're starting there as well. But you see our MO, small town, a lot of destination stuff, a lot of cool stuff happening. Okay, we can go in there and help invigorate that, and also provide economics to the downtown. Every one of your restaurants that you put in downtown, bars and whatever, and shops, they all gain by the economics of that hotel because people want to buy stuff in the streets. So, any other questions? I have. Yes.
Are you going to have anything else besides boutique hotel rooms, such as like?
No, it's just, it was, you know, the condo thing is always kind of a consideration, but it is a hotel. I mean, I can't describe it any other way now. People looked at it for apartments and all kinds of things. You really have to cherry rig the hotel to make it that kind of thing. And the units are really bigger than a hotel room. So it is what it is. And so there's been some attempts to go along the other way, and I just don't see it. It would be incredibly costly to try to change it to something like that. So it's 64-room hotel. You have this beautiful lobby, which I call the St. Francis lobby. St. Francis Hotel in downtown San Francisco has a lobby like this. They have high tea every Sunday. So, you know, it's stuff like that. So then the bar restaurant will be, I think, very, very, very cool. And so the meeting space, I mean, that's just about it. So we're providing food and beverage, it won't be whatever we do in the basement, which we're talking about, some items here, but the food and beverage will be big, and hopefully the rooms will too, because of people want to share. Any other questions? Yes.
Just like to thank you. I'm a long-time resident of Statesville, downtown region. with this exciting thing to happen.
Well, thank you so much. This is what we do for a living. So, I don't have to do these things, by the way. My son is involved. He has to do these things. He's a brainiac. And if he were here, I wouldn't say that, but his ego is big enough already. But he's really involved with these projects, as Michael could tell you. And the details and things that go into these are fabulous. But we're going to try to bring to you something that nobody else has. They're trying to do the Empire Hotel in Salisbury right now. And that's one of the 3 hotels that's left. The Empire Hotel, which needs a lot more work than this one does. And then the Dughill Hotel downtown Charlotte, which is operating as a hotel. So you have one of 3 hotels, again, as I mentioned, the several county area around you. You've got a jewel here, you've got a piece of, it's like walking on the beach and finding a little diamond. I mean, that's kind of what it is. And you gotta, when you live here, you don't like see it as kind of like, you can't see the forest and the trees kind of thing. But when an outsider comes in and says, hey, oh gosh, this is pretty cool. Well, that's what I saw in 2009. This is pretty cool. So that didn't leave me. And so I'm here today. I hung in there a while before we get to the point where we could help out. I know what it could do for us. And you're right. Thank you. Anything else? Yes, sir.
I'm kind of remiss because I have no information. With you cutting down on the room sizes, one of the things that I think we all struggle with in the downtown area is parking. You'll be able to contain your parking. Is there any idea of how many parking spots there will be back there? And is that going to be used for the community? Or is that going to be used for this?
Well, it's a lot of questions and I have a few answers, but what we're planning to do is build 140 car parking. Okay, so that parking deck was designed to help the hotel. We think we need, give or take 80 rooms or 80 parking spots, excuse me, give or take at times. Depends on how many people might be going to a meeting there or something like that, or pre-wedding party or something. And then most of our parking though is at night. So the only confluence is at 5 o'clock when people check in and 8 o'clock when they check out. So people coming in and out from a business during the day and us, our patrons going out during the night, it's kind of a confluence there. But what we think we've done is we've supplied some additional parking for your downtown. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to pay for it just yet. I mean, I don't know whether you have to charge for it or whatever the case may be, but it has to be able to pay for itself in some fashion. So we're grappling with that right now. So we try to keep the expenses as low as we can. And we utilize the facility as well. Oh, yeah, I've answered it. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you so much for letting me come to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Stephen. I know everybody is over the moon about this project. We can't wait for it. I also want to, before I get started, Brittany is not here. She wanted to be here so bad. She actually had her sister come over. She took a shower. So I'm going to read her remarks. But before I do that, I want to personally say thank you to my board of directors, to Wes especially, for all the support that you've given me over the past year. I'm going to cry when I read your stuff, by the way. I cried when I read it this morning. So it's been a wacky 2 years. So thank you for everything. And thank you to 220 for all the great food as they walk out the door. So I'm going to read this like I'm Brittany. Pretend I'm pretty. Welcome again to our board of directors, ex officios, business owners, property owners, and downtown stakeholders. Thank you to Wes, Doug, Nicole, and especially Liz for orchestrating this annual meeting while I'm at home consumed by night feedings, changing diapers, and baby snuggles. Having just celebrated my 1-year anniversary as executive director, I've been reflecting on the successes and areas for improvements over the past year. As I've told many of you, with DSDC being an organization with so many complex duties, My goal for the first year was to keep the budget in line, make no irreparable mistakes, and learn as much as I can. To date, I have accomplished those goals and plan to make my goals a little more lofty for the following year. The Downtown Statesville Development Corporation was brought into existence in 1982 and for many years has been known as an exemplary North Carolina Main Street community. Without the support of our mayor, city council, city staff, property owners, business owners, and volunteers, we would not have had the successes that we are now celebrating, most of which are many years in the making. We have a vibrant downtown that is truly the heart of our community. Over the last year, we have added 22 new businesses that have chosen to make downtown their home, which we will happily recognize in just a few moments. We've had several property change hands and be invested in, including but not limited to 310 West Broad Street, 125 and 127 West Broad Street, 222 South Center Street, 101 South Center Street, 225 Davie Avenue, 224 Davie Avenue, 221 East Front Street, and 304 West Front Street. That's a lot. The private investment in the projects in downtown completed over the last year has been in excess of $15 million. It has certainly been a banner year for growth in our district. Two of our downtown events in particular were wildly successful this past year. Piedmont Healthcare Friday After 5 and Flow Automotive Pumpkin Fest were the most successful events to date. We're thankful for the close partnership we have with the Greater Statesville Chamber of Commerce and the commitment we have with them to work smarter, not harder, to make our events the best they can be for patrons, sponsors, and our respective organizations. She didn't put this in there, but I also wanted to say we've got a social district this year. That was pretty cool. The most important part of DSDC in downtown are, in fact, our people. Two events in particular gave us a little extra insight as to just how wonderful our people are. The North Carolina Main Street Conference and the devastating fire on April 25th. That's what I'm proud of. For the North Carolina Main Street Conference, each and every one of our partner organizations stepped up in a huge way, clearing their schedules, offering their time, resources, and expertise to help us host 750 people from across the United States. Our volunteers were the stars of the show, filling nearly 120 volunteer spots. It was amazing, and giving our guests the most warm statesville welcome you can imagine. The 2023 North Carolina Main Street Conference was definitely one to remember. Our people showed up once again during and after the fire. First and foremost, the Statesville Fire Department and the additional fire departments that were on scene. We can never appropriately thank them for the work that they did to stop this fire where and when they did, potentially saving the entire block of historic buildings and the livelihoods of so many. City staff were dotting the sidewalks consistently for weeks following the fire, doing their best to support business and property owners affected by the fire while ensuring the safety of downtown patrons and keeping business running normally as much as possible. Our business and property owners showed up for one another in a huge way, keeping one another hydrated, fed, giving displaced employees and business owners a space to work. Even the number of people coming out to simply lend a caring embrace and words of support was astounding. Mention must be made as the resiliency of one of downtown's longest standing businesses, Gloria Hager. Within 48 hours of the fire destroying her retail business, she had already signed a lease for a new space and had set in motion the plans for the next iteration of GG's. Gloria's tenacity is she and her right hand, Carol, are a shining example to all other small business owners. We're so thankful that you're part of our community. I'm really excited to see where the next year takes us. Liz and I have found our rhythm as a team and are thrilled to continue to have the opportunity to bring our strengths together for the growth and betterment of our district and this organization. Fine-tune our current events, working on some big projects, taking care of our people, and getting back to the basics of what makes us a great organization. Thank you for being with us today. So now we would like to first acknowledge the following businesses that were unable to be here today. And before I do this, I want to say this is my favorite part of my job is when we have a new business come in and I get to help them, learn about downtown, meet everybody, and I really appreciate the relationships that I have. So first, I would like to acknowledge Doug. Where are you at?
Right here.
The following businesses that were unable to be here today, if you are here and I missed you, please come up here, because I can't see who else here. Alluvia HOA Management at 118B West Broad Street. Autumn Hope Counseling at 119 North Tradd Street, Suite A. Center Stage Alliance, 139 East Broad Street. Fidelity Law Group, 211 Walnut Street. Morrison Fox, Attorneys at Law, 121 North Center Street, Suite 101. 111 Salon, 111 Water Street. So Media, 215 West Broad Street. And Theater Statesville, I haven't mentioned, 109 West Broad Street. They'll be back. They're looking for new space. Maryland just found a new space, which is great. Now to acknowledge this year's new businesses that are in attendance with us today, hopefully. And Doug, this says you'll be done to shake hands. Al Carpenter. 316 East Broad Street. We're going to take a picture with your certificate. Alan. And also, I'm asking, I would like to ask our new board members and our new businesses to stay afterwards for pictures. Sorry. FTW Gaming. I'm going to kind of run through these and let them stand in line. Infinite Space, 317 South Mulberry Street. 10 Jennifer Morrison Interiors. Miss Make Art, 111 South Center Street, Suite 108. Alabama. Rachel's Crafty Corner, 106 SKJ Barbershop, 232 West Broad Street, Lynn Convention and Visitors Bureau. They have a new office at 328 East Broad Street, Suite B, and Ms. Debbie Williams is going to accept that. We have two new Airbnbs, the Elm, 207 South Elm Street, that is Ron and Cheryl Matthews. The George Vintage and Design, 212 South Center Street, and that's Terry Brake. Is she here? She was hoping to make it. She's very busy because she wants to get her store open by the end of the month. Our other Airbnb is the Hive, and it is at 307 East Front Street, and that is Brandon and Cindy Sutton. Bakery and Coffee Shop, 127 West Broad Street, Emily and Parker Nolan. The Order Code, 226 West Broad Street, Eric and Joanna Hurtick. Wicked Wardrobe, Crystal Jones. Let's give one more round of applause and welcome these businesses and thank them for their investment in downtown Statesville. We'll turn it over to our new chairman, Mr. Doug Hendricks. I'll trade with you. Singing a song. And thank you guys for your patience. Doug promises that he's not going to talk very long.
Now, I just want to quickly say, thank you all for coming out today. I appreciate you giving us some of your precious time. I know that's is precious to us. Remember when the business leaders in town used to have a position now we all have a job. And, with real jobs, with real expectations and real consequences. So thank you for taking your time to come out. I want to thank and applaud Wes for his solid leadership at DSDC for the past 2 years. And I want to thank past, current, and new board members for being willing to serve. I'm grateful for Brittany and Liz who carry out the day-to-day business of DSDC and are amazing advocates for our merchants and property owners. My vision for DSDC is to continue to focus on the economic vitality of downtown. Let's continue to strengthen our partnerships with the city of Statesville, the Statesville Police Department, the Greater Statesville Chamber of Commerce, Iredell Regional Development, and the Statesville Convention and Visitors Bureau. Together, we can continue to transform our downtown by increasing the diversity of the events like Wine Walk, Full Bloom Film Festival, the Juneteenth celebration, Friday After 5, the Pride Parade, Art Crawl, Pumpkin Fest, Hops and Harmony, Haunted Statesville tours, trick or treating, shop and stroll, carriage rides, and the list goes on. We're pretty cool. We continue to look for collaboration opportunities with folks like the Iredell Arts Council, Piedmont Folkways, Full Bloom Film Festival, and others. The Downtown Social District is helping with this transformation by providing an opportunity for diverse social interaction in a safe environment. Obviously, with the recent hire, limited parking and limited properties to market, we have some obstacles. But we are Statesville. We need to ask for your help. DSDC has 3 committees: the Economic Vitality Committee, the Design Committee, and the Promotions Committee. We welcome you to pick one of these committees on which to serve and help us meet the needs of our merchants, property owners, and our community. I remind you that in the midst of the recent recession, this community built a multi-million-dollar homeless shelter, a multi-million-dollar boys and girls home, a multi-million-dollar hospice house, the new Dove House, and so much more. Not because of one large monetary gift, but because of thousands of folk like you and me who care about this hometown. Thank you.
Thank you guys for being here. Once again, if you are one of my new business owners or new board members, if you'll just stay after and let us take some pictures. Everybody, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest